Good evening. Tonight we will be discussing Wiccan Magic, what it is, and more importantly, what it isn't. There is often a great debate surrounding the idea of magic. What it is, what it isn't, and how it works can be a source of contention for many practitioners. Perhaps exploring and explaining the nature of magic, at least from a Wiccan perspective, is best done by first defining what it is not. Magic is not a stage trick. It is not an illusion. It is not seen at the local nightclub, performed by stage magicians in long black coats and assistant girls in their little sequiny outfits. That's a lot of fun, but it's not Wiccan magic. Magic is also not supernatural in any way, for Wiccans believe that it is just a part of nature, not above it. It is simply that magic is a less understood aspect of nature, which is why we call it magic, because we can't really define it properly, just because we don't understand it all the way. Wiccan magic does not involve a pact with the devil. That's important, because Wiccans do not believe in the devil. You cannot make a pact with something that doesn't exist according to your own belief system. Magic is not a good way to gain revenge or to act unethically, for the ethics and rules of magic are strict and consequences for misuse are swift, at least from the Wiccan perspective. Now, ethics is something we'll get into in a different video, but the ethics of magic vary from tradition to tradition, just like ethics and morals vary from one tradition to another. We're not going to discuss ethics tonight. Magic is not reserved for a few special people. It is not just for people who are gifted with its use. Anyone can learn to use magic with enough dedication and given enough time to practice and study. Magic does not reside in tools such as our athames, our wands, or our cauldrons. It's said that true magic lies within the practitioner, and tools only serve to enhance the practice of magic, but they are not the source of magic. So the wand you hold in your hand isn't giving you magic. It's just a way to channel it, a way to connect with your inner magical self. In general, magic does not result in special effects in the material world. There are no showers of golden sparks, no glowing blue balls of light, no walls of fire, no bolts of energy flying from the ends of wands. That's all Hollywood magic. That's not real Wiccan magic. True magic manifests itself in much less spectacular ways. Finally, magic is not easy to learn. It requires hard work and discipline to be of any use at all. While magic certainly is a method for inner growth and spiritual development, using it for more mundane purposes is a little bit more complex. Magic is not a substitute for common sense or practicality. It's not a way to get out of doing the right thing. You still need to think, okay? It's not the solution to all life's problems, as is sometimes purported. It's not. So defining magic in a spiritual context can be a little bit difficult. Since its definition does change over time, the problem is only compounded over time. A popular definition put forth by the magician Aleister Crowley is, magic is the art and science of causing changes to occur in conformity with will. That is a pretty good definition as far as Wiccans are concerned. So this is probably the most accepted spiritual definition of magic within Wiccan circles. There are other definitions of magic, but that's a really good one to start with, just because it is pretty specific. So, good place to start. There are many different kinds of magic, and they can be categorized into two main types. So, the two main types are theurgy. You're going to see that spelling appear on your screen. And thaumaturgy. Again, the spelling's going to appear on your screen, so you can Google and look them up a little more. We're going to talk about them right now, but you can also Google them and look them up a little more if you like. So these two forms of magic are quite different and distinct. Essentially, theurgy involves the use of magic for religious purposes or personal development. This is generally regarded as the highest use of magic, and it is what magic really most of the time should be used for. Okay? Religious purposes and your own personal spiritual development. Excellent uses of magic. Theurgy, first and foremost, serves as a method of spiritual development for the practitioner. It exists as a method of change. The end goal of this change is a heightened state of awareness and a fuller range of possibilities. The idea of change frightens many practitioners early on simply because they can't predict the evolution of this practice, so it can be a little bit intimidating. But it's also a good thing. I mean, trying something new is not necessarily bad. Theurgy allows the practitioner to experience being a part of all that is. It is the goal of many spiritual paths to reestablish a connection with the greater universe, and theurgy is one method by which this can be accomplished. So it's one way you can connect to the greater universe. You can be part of the whole. Thaumaturgy, on the other hand, is magic for non-religious purposes. It can be described as magic that's performed in an effort to change things on the physical plane. So instead of a more spiritual magic, you're talking about a more physical magic. This might include magic to heal a physical ailment. It might be a spell to gain a job or a promotion, or perhaps just a spell for safe travel. That's all thaumaturgy. This type of magic, as long as it brings harm to none, is just as valid as higher forms of magic and is practiced a lot within Wiccan circles. It's the little spells that Wiccans cast. So if you've seen the playlist I have of spell kits, that's all thaumaturgy. That's not theurgy, okay? Because it's for practical, physical things. It's not for spiritual development. So practitioners, especially Wiccan practitioners, believe that magic does indeed work, but it isn't miracle working. It won't just happen. When a spell or ritual is performed with the intention of producing a certain result, the individual must act in accord with that magic. This means that if you were to cast a spell to get a better job, then you have to actively try to get a better job. So you have to apply for better positions, keep your eye out for new opportunities, be willing to move on from the job you've got. You have to do all the practical things that are involved with attaining what you want. Casting a healing spell, for example, without doing anything in the physical realm to assist the spell will likely lead to failure. So, yes, it's okay to cast a spell to get well faster, but you still need to take your antibiotics, right? So you have to do the physical things that line up with the physical spell you're casting. It doesn't work in a vacuum. You have to help yourself physically in order for your spell to work. So magic only works through true belief and desire. So you have to believe in it, you have to desire the outcome, and you have to put your best effort in. So you have to combine common sense and practicality with your belief in magic and your desire for the spell to work. You have to do all of those things at the same time, right? You'll get help if you help yourself, kind of thing. Understanding what magic is and what it is not is an important step to being able to use it. Magic, in its many forms, is regarded as a powerful tool for the practitioner who walks a magical path. And in Wicca, spells are common. So you will see if you pick up a book on Wicca, or you tune into a Wicca YouTube channel, or you go to a Wiccan website, you're going to find a lot of spells. That's because we cast them, they're kind of like a heightened form of prayer. They're like intentional prayer. So instead of asking for something vague, we're asking for something very specific. We're saying, this is what we want, and this is what we're willing to do to get it. Give me a little help here. That's what magic is. It's not something that happens on its own in a vacuum. So I hope you enjoyed this particular video. I hope you tune in next week. Again, I'm not sure what we're covering yet. Still no tarot. Still no tarot. I have had somebody ask if I'm going to go back to doing tarot videos. Not yet. I will eventually, but not right now. Anyway, thanks for joining us this week. Blessed be.